this is my goat. The story of basically my goat. You feel me? We're gonna see.
His story is one of the most remarkable of any world leader. Few in history have endured oppression with such little rancor or overcome the oppressor with such little bloodshed.
Aha. Nelson Mandela.
Kalizaza! Bro, you can't say my goat didn't have swag. You can't say it. Kalizaza man, Kaligogo, mfana. Let me join you. Let me join you, mfana. No, my brother, let me join my goat. Let me join my goat. I fight for freedom and for Nash. All the above, my brother. I fight for everything. I fight for Mom Kitty. I'm sorry, man. But R.I.P. my goat, though. R.I.P. my goat. This is my goat.
We hereby swear.
Yep.
To be faithful to the Republic of South Africa.
Yep.
In May 1994, Nelson Mandela, the man white South Africa had imprisoned for nearly 30 years, was sworn in as the country's first black president. Through his dignified and courageous leadership, the African National Congress had broken the stranglehold of apartheid and transformed South Africa into a multiracial democracy.
You know what's crazy, chat? You know what's crazy? There was a time when black people, you couldn't even go to like expensive clinics but you couldn't go to anywhere. Wherever white people were, you couldn't go there. So a lot of black people back in the day, they didn't have proper medication, they didn't have proper housing, they didn't even have proper food because a lot of stores were white dominated. If you think about it, a lot of farmers, people, you know what I'm saying, they were white people. So our people were, wow, bro, it's crazy, bro. Like, we were born in such a privileged generation. I don't think people understand, boy. Back in the day, our people used to struggle because of Shaka Zulu. That's crazy, bro. That's crazy.
Nelson Mandela was born in 1918 in South Africa's Eastern Cape. He was the son of a tribal chief. He qualified as a lawyer, and by 1952, he'd set up a legal partnership with a man who was to be a lifelong friend and ally, Oliver Tambo. Together, they campaigned against apartheid, the exercise in social engineering under which South Africa's white minority, in charge of the country's military as well as economic forces, brutally crushed the human rights and aspirations of the black majority.
White people were policemen, dog. Like, but I personally think that South Africa was the most oppressed country. It has to be one of the most oppressed country in terms of racial oppression in the world. It has to, bro. South Africa has too much racial, history. But like right now, we don't care. Like, black, white, Indian, colored, whatever, boy. Like, we're all people at the end of the day, right? But back in the day, boy, imagine, like, especially for colored people. Imagine how colored people. Like, it had to be difficult back in the day, bro. But I do think that South Africa was the most oppressed country in the world. I don't care what people say, bro. I still believe that till this day. Till this day, I actually still believe that, bro. No cap.
In 1956, Mandela was among 156 political activists to be charged with high treason. The trial lasted more than 4 years before charges were dropped.
In Johannesburg, premier city of South Africa, thousands of coloured people went to attend a protest meeting called by the African National Congress.
ANC.
By now, black resistance to apartheid was growing. Past laws which restricted where black people could live and work became the focus of resentment. Past books were burned as Mandela and others organised demonstrations against apartheid's leaders.
I despise them because they were despised by the entire world. They dressed in beautiful suits, silk shirts and silk ties, but they were beautiful outside and full of evil inside.
The Sharpeville massacre in 1960 forced the ANC to change strategy. 69 people died when police opened fire on black demonstrators. The ANC was outlawed, Mandela went underground and...
Bro, isn't this crazy though? Like, 69 black people were killed, shot and killed on this day. And no cap, this is one of the most historical days of all time. The Sharpeville massacre had to be the most historical thing to happen to black people in South Africa, because 60 people were shot having a peaceful protest. In a peaceful protest, 60 people were shot. Or more than 60 people. We don't even know how many people were being shot there. But on a peaceful protest, people were getting shot, boy. Just because they were black and protesting. Bro, like, our people, boy, we've been through a lot, bro. Like, I can't lie, bro. As a country,
peaceful resistance became a thing of the past.
There are many people who feel that it is useless and futile for us to continue talking peace and non-violence against a government whose reply is only savage attacks on an unarmed and defenseless people.
Mandela undertook a campaign of sabotage against the state. He was eventually arrested and charged with conspiracy to overthrow the government. At his trial, he made a 3-hour speech from the dock. A tape of it was discovered later. This, his final plea for freedom and democracy for all South Africans, was to echo down the 27 years he was to remain a political prisoner.
It is an idea for which I hope to live for and to see realized. But my Lord, if it needs be, it is an idea for which I am prepared to die.
Damn.
Sentenced to life imprisonment, he was sent to Robben Island, a top security prison in Cape Town's Table Bay. Photographs of Mandela were banned from publication. To quote him was an offence. But, astonishingly, he wasn't embittered by his long imprisonment.
We soon...
Bro, Mandela almost was treated like a fucking terrorist, bro. He was treated like a terrorist, this guy must. Because, bro, you gotta understand, bro. They made sure that pictures of this guy were banned. So any picture that this guy had, bro, they had to, they locked you up for having pictures of this bro right here. You can't quote the things that he's ever said. You can't quote them. If you quote them, you get arrested. Like, what? They actually treated him like a terrorist, like he's satanic or something. Yo, boy. It was good. That's crazy, gang.
The fact that we are not conducting a struggle against individual whites. We are fighting a principle, fighting white domination. And in the course of that struggle, we can even form friendships with people from the other side.
Yep.
Outside, time was running out for apartheid. With the ANC leadership in jail, even the children of Soweto were now helping to sustain the revolution. The hardline government of P.W. Botha tried to crush the uprising, but gradually, more liberal white people began to recognise that Mandela was the solution, not the problem. An international campaign was begun for the release of Nelson Mandela, as around the world, governments imposed sanctions on South Africa. In 1990, a courageous white leader, President F.W. de Klerk, announced that the ANC would be unbanned. That February, after 27 years of imprisonment, Nelson Mandela walked to freedom with his then-wife, Winnie.
My nigga was in jail for 27 years, bro. He went to jail, boy, my quote, went to jail for 27 years. 27 years! You see, and I personally think, bro, here's my take on apartheid and stuff, you feel me? White dominance was never the issue. The issue was how they dealt with power. You understand? Bro, these people, bro, would literally kill black people, treat them like animals. Like, boy, like, black people were being treated like animals back in the day. That's what I'm saying. Now, when you're a white person, you having power is not the actual problem. The problem is when you use your power for wrong things, as killing a certain race just because you don't like how they look. You feel what I'm saying? So I do think that, bro, like, it was back in the day, bro, like, these things were actually like deep, but like Yeah, bro. Like right now, thank God we're not in this era anymore. I can't lie. Thank God. At least we can thank God now. We understand. We don't have to. We don't have to go through these things. For me, like at least I can go shop there and I can see my boy Clarence and be like, "Hey Clarence, you are nga." He's like, "Yeah, VJ wat nee. Ek is goed, bro. As jy goed." I'm like, "Ek is I'm fine. I'm fine." For me, we're gonna have a good time, bro. Have a conversation.
Worldwide pressure had borne fruit. But hope soon turned to despair. Township violence left blacks fighting blacks. Mandela repeatedly appealed for peace.
Why were black people?
Your guns, your knives, and your pangas, and throw them into the sea.
Mandela's appeal was largely ignored. Black people were massacring each other, even as Mandela was negotiating a new democratic constitution.
Bro, that's another thing, bro. I feel like, bro, black people, yo, dog, I don't know, bro. Like, what is y'all take on this in general? Like, the statement that black people, was massacring each other back in the day. Even though Mandela was fighting for peace, other black people were actually not fighting for peace, were fighting for violence. Like, bro, so what was the point of my boy going to jail for so long just for y'all niggas to go back to killing each other, bro? What, like, what? Like, come on, gang, we gotta move forward as a country, as a people, as a nation. No, we're no longer a rainbow nation, by the way, okay? I need to clear this up to anybody. Bro, South Africa is no longer a rainbow nation. Everything that associates rainbow, we know what it is. That's what I'm saying. Unless y'all like to be called gay, I mean, shit, I don't think we want to be called a rainbow nation anymore. You understand? Shout out to all my rainbow individuals. If you are part of the rainbow, you feel me? That's on you, gang. We are not part of that thing. You understand? I'm South African. I'm not part of a rainbow nation. I'm part of South African nation. I don't know, boy. I'm part of Azania nation. I'm not part of a rainbow nation. Because everything that associates with rainbow nowadays, boy, it's honest. Yeah. I just want to clarify.
The country's first multiracial elections in 1994 resulted in a landslide victory for the ANC. Millions enjoyed their first taste of democracy. People from all races welcomed the vote as a new beginning for the country. The process of national reconciliation was helped by the Truth and Reconciliation Commission, which gave the victims of apartheid the opportunity to tell their stories and, in some cases, to confront their oppressors.
What kind of man, listening to those moans and cries and groans, what kind of man is that?
It was a painful process for everyone. Yet for all his political skills, Mandela found it difficult to tackle many of South Africa's endemic social problems. Chief among them were the acute shortage of affordable housing, the widespread poverty, and the scourge of AIDS. In December 1997, Nelson Mandela gave up the presidency of the African National Congress in favour of South Africa's Vice President, Thabo Mbeki, who also succeeded him as head of state. Mandela was feted throughout the world, as here in London. But there'd been personal sadness. His long-time marriage to Winnie, once known as the mother of the nation, had ended following her involvement in the kidnapping and murder of a student activist.
What?
In 1998, at the age of 80, he married Graça Machel, the widow of the late president of Mozambique. It was a marriage which brought him personal happiness and helped him to enjoy the family life which had been denied to him by his long commitment to the struggle against apartheid.
Damn.
On the eve of the new millennium, Nelson Mandela had revisited the cell on Robben Island, where he'd spent 18 of the 27 years he was imprisoned.
That's insane.
He lit a candle to symbolize reconciliation. It was passed to an African child to represent that continent's hope for the future. A hope inspired by the life and ideals of one of the truly great leaders of our time, Nelson Mandela.
Damn, Chad. Hey, listen, bro. R.I.P. my goals, bro. Like, this was For me, R.I.P. my goat. I mean, R.I.P. gang. The nigga was like what 100 years old. I don't know how yeah cool. But yo, boy, he had to be like, boy, he was old, boy. But like, shout out to him, bro. 27 years, yo, I can't survive in jail. Oh, James, like that's crazy, bro. 27 boy for in jail, and you didn't